Welcome to the Help Her Be Brave podcast show, where we have great ideas on how we can help save lives. I'm Amy Ford.
And I'm Jessica Russo.
And today we're going to be talking to my friend Jor-El Godsey. And he is with Heartbeat International, and they are just amazing. A pregnancy center training organization. I know for Embrace Grace, we go to their annual conference.
Yes,
every
some of
year.
us get to go.
Yes, yeah. Jessica always has FOMO because she wants to go, but she's like does donor. You know, she's over fundraising and all that.
And there's always
I'm like,
something going on.
Yeah,
I just like people.
I don't know if that's like a fundraising type conference to go to, but although they do actually have fundraising tracks. Yeah, okay. All right. There maybe there's something here. But anyways, our team actually just got back a couple of weeks ago from the Heartbeat Conference. It was their 50-year anniversary, which is totally amazing. So all these pregnancy center directors and workers go for great workshops and teachings and just learning the cutting edge stuff of what's going on in the pro-life movement. But one thing that they've added on that I'm really excited that Jor-El's going to talk about today is their new, I guess it's been out a few years, really working on it is the abortion pill reversal. Did you know that you can reverse an abortion?
I mean, I had heard about it, but I was at an event in Dallas a few months ago, and he came and spoke about it. And there was like, every ear was attentive.
Yeah.
This is such a powerful resource. I'm so excited that we're sharing this with the listeners.
Yes. So good. And everybody needs to know.
Yes.
They need to know. Okay. Jor-El, are you there?
Great to be with you, Amy. Thanks for allowing me the privilege.
Yeah. Okay. Jor-El is so amazing. I tell everyone that I know that if you've ever just met someone and you just like trust their character and who they are, and like that's Jor-El. Like he's so noble and he is amazing, and I'm so thankful that he's leading Heartbeat. And even though he's all the way up in Ohio, I feel like lately I've been seeing you a lot lately, Jor-El, which is pretty awesome. Doing a lot of pro-life stuff together, but I'd love for you to just start with your why. Like, why are you so passionately pro-life?
So thanks, Amy. Thanks for the opportunity to be with you, and you're amazing as well. And it's great to see you. I see you everywhere, but in your own office.
I know you got to come around the country. To come over. Come to Texas.
I do need to do that, and I promise I will next time in Dallas. The adventure for me really begins as just someone who's in school, and I have a girlfriend, and ultimately she gets pregnant, and I actually facilitate her abortion. And so for me, this begins at a very personal place where I was a participant in the abortion of my own child, and that's it's just what I knew to do. I didn't know any better. I think in some ways that's a familiar story to many, that they don't necessarily know that there are other options. Of course, this was many years ago, and then after that, I had an encounter with Christ where I opened my heart to Him, found myself in church, and it was sitting in a church, and a visiting pastor came to our church, and he really unpacked this issue. He intended to. He came with a mission to activate our church in a big way, and he did that. He did it to me personally. I can remember the moment, Amy, when I was sitting in that little folding chair it wasn't even an official pew. It was metal chairs that were set in this tiny storefront church, and he said this. He said, "Abortion is not a social issue." And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, of course it is. And then he says, abortion is not a political issue. And it's like, oh my goodness. Of course, I'm not allowed to speak in church like that. Back at the speaker, unlike some other churches where that's frequent. But in my mind, I was really arguing with him, and because he was driving at a bigger point. And then he said this. So after I realized, well, it is a political issue. But what he was talking about is the measure of importance. And then he said this. He said, abortion is a gospel issue. And with all my newfound faith and understanding in the power of the gospel and the glory of the good news, I was rocked in that moment. My own past was uncovered. My awareness of the issue was suddenly cast in the light of the cross and the light of Christ and what he required and the gift that he gives and the gift of life. And I was radically changed in that one moment. And so, in fact, after the church services were done, he had come prepared. He had brought signs, and our little church left that service that morning and went and picketed an abortion doctor. And that so I literally walked in as pro-choice as anyone else, having participated in that abortion culture, and then walked out as a pro-lifer, like willing and knowing that something needed to be done. And so from there, it moved on from there. I actually got involved with some peaceful protests blocking abortion clinics that led to a couple of arrests, which are part of my past. And then I discovered this very compassionate outreach called pregnancy centers. And I walked into my very first pregnancy center, had never heard of it or seen one before, and walked into that center before it was open. And that was in 1991. And within a matter of months, I was actually fully engaged on the board even. And then eventually I moved from the board to be on staff. And that was a long time ago, Amy, and I've been doing this full time ever since. So the Lord has really captured my heart about this, the issue, and particularly kind of the compassion side of the pro-life movement.
I love how one moment in God's presence can change everything. And that was you. You had no idea what God had in store for you, and that changed the trajectory of your whole life and what you're doing now. Like, that is so awesome.
Yeah, it's apparently dangerous to go to church.
Yeah,
God might actually change you,
Right.
It might work.
I Lord knows where I'd have ended up, but I've been grateful to be a part of this kingdom work and life-saving ministry for many, many years now.
Yes, that's so good. Okay, so tell us, for anyone that's listening, maybe they haven't listened to any of our past episodes. This is the first one they're listening to. Tell us a little bit about what pregnancy centers are, and then I'd love to talk about what Heartbeat is doing with the abortion pill reversal.
Certainly. So pregnancy centers, that pregnancy center that I walked into many, many years ago was kind of an outpost, a harbor, even a harbor of hope. In fact, it was eventually called Hope Pregnancy Centers there in South Florida, where I grew up. And it was a place where women could go and engage someone on the matter, the topic of their unplanned pregnancy, where the people that were speaking to them had no financial gain or no financial interest in their decision. And that represented a kind of a safe place to have a discussion about things that were pressuring them and almost forcing them into the choice that is abortion, and really not allowing them to consider other options or possibilities. And you and I know, Amy, when someone feels like there's only one choice, then there really is no choice. And, we firmly believe that no woman should feel so alone that she feels there's only one option, that is to terminate the life of her child. And certainly being coerced, whether by another person or even by our own circumstances, is not something that we think we should sit idly by and let happen. That's why pregnancy centers are there. They do this by establishing in the communities all across the country. There are some 2,700 pregnancy centers around the U.S. That are serving in this, and then about half as many as that globally that we're aware of. So we get to connect a lot of those together as part of affiliates of Heartbeat International. And we really were called into existence by the pregnancy health movement. So we're not necessarily the ones that are going and marching, in a political rally, or the ones that are maybe championing the issue at the legislative level, although we can. But our goal day in and day out at the pregnancy health community is to rise up and reach her and welcome her with open arms to discuss the challenge that she's facing that's really driving her towards abortion, so that we can hopefully provide an alternative to abortion that she can find in her heart, that we know that the Lord really wants her to have. That's a gift of God, and God will make a way that she can't see, but we often can, and help her to see as well.
That's so good. Yeah, you guys are on the front lines. And the first response team, the search and rescue team. I love how Tony Evans says that, that the pregnancy centers are the first response team and the church is the hospital. And you guys, the pregnancy centers, you guys are doing the hard work of just talking to the moms in that moment where they're figuring out that they're pregnant and trying to figure out what they're going to do and what it's going to look like. And you guys are amazing. All of the resources that you know about in each of your communities, and knowing how to just comfort her And through that is just totally awesome. We love being at your heartbeat conferences every year and cheering you guys on and networking with all your pregnancy centers. It's just awesome.
And you guys serve with such compassion and dignity.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Well, that's our hope that we would just want to love her into making sure that she's not feeling alone. No woman, I mean, every woman should be supported in her pregnancy. Everyone. Right. No one can disagree with that. That's something that we shouldn't leave them to the pressures of life, and we do everything we can. I mean, pregnancy centers provide all kinds of material aid. They certainly provide a loving arm, a shoulder, somebody who's not enmeshed in the challenges they're feeling, who can then see things a little more clearly. Of course, medical services, ultrasound, many services that are there to help her so that she doesn't feel like she's forced into that other decision.
Yeah, so good. Okay, tell us a little bit about what Heartbeat's doing with abortion pill reversal.
So that's been an amazing journey for us. Frankly, it's been something that I was aware of abortion pill reversal. So let me explain really quick what it is. And of course, the medical people can do it so much better than I can. But abortion pill is not one pill; it's actually two. And between the first pill, which is called mifepristone, which is the actual pill that blocks progesterone from getting to the baby and essentially starves the baby from being able to grow and continue. And then the second pill is introduced within 24 hours, and that's misoprostol. And that's a more common pill that's prescribed in pregnancy, particularly to like induce contractions. And so what the first pill does is basically eliminate the ability for the baby to continue to thrive. And then the second pill comes in and essentially flushes the baby from the uterus. So between those two pills, though, we've seen some amazing things. And this is the first known incidence of this that we're aware of is 2006. A young woman had just taken the first pill, presented herself to a Dr. Harrison in North Carolina, and said, I do not want to continue with this. I don't want to go through with this. What can I do? And he, in his OB practice, prescribed progesterone, which has been around since the 40s and 50s, I believe, as a help to moms. Often when someone is in danger of miscarriage, progesterone is what's prescribed, and that's the synthetic version, because a mom produces progesterone naturally. It's a naturally occurring, natural occurring in the woman's body, and what the doctors can do then is supplement if they have, say, low progesterone or something that is otherwise a danger to the baby.
What if one box could save 2 lives? Well, we've created Love Boxes as an invitational gift for single and pregnant women to welcome them and to be a part of a local Embrace Grace support group, helping them to be brave in their choice for life. We ship Love Boxes for free to pregnancy centers all over the nation so that when they have a single and pregnant client walk in their doors, a Love Box can be placed in their hands. These boxes not only encourage a decision for life, but also invite single and pregnant women to join an Embrace Grace support group at a local church, inviting them to be a part of a spiritual family they will walk this season with, and if they'll allow it, their entire lives. To learn more about Love Boxes, visit www.embracegrace.com.
So here we have this abortion pill, which is coming in blocking progesterone from doing its work. So what Dr. Harrison found, and then just 2 years later, Dr. Delgado on the other side of the country in California found the same thing, was that flooding her system with progesterone was able to kind of overwhelm the negative impact of mifepristone and essentially secure and rescue that baby from the midst of an abortion. So that's normally we're dealing with someone before she makes that decision. But here we've suddenly begun to be able to help her in the midst of that decision. Now it has to happen quickly because these are powerful drugs, and the longer that they're left to be in effect by themselves, the more difficult it is to reverse. But we have found, and there's a 2018 study on this, several hundred of these women. We found that that depending upon when and how we're able to reach her, we can see a success rate as high as 65 to 68%. So almost 70%, 7 out of 10 women that seek this and get that progesterone in a timely fashion are able to reverse the effects of the abortion pill. And we've seen now, I think we're well over 2,000 babies that have been saved from abortion pill reversal as it's become to know.
That's amazing.
I know. I think it's so awesome. And I don't think that a lot of people know about it, and that is a thing, that it can be reversed, or at least, almost 70% chance of being reversed. So how do people, like for the moms that take the first abortion pill, and then maybe they're starting to have those regrets or what did I just do? All of those thoughts, like how do they even find out about this? Is it through Google? Do they mainly Google it, or calling pregnancy centers?
Well, it's hopefully just about every pregnancy center is aware of it, but I would encourage them simply to type in abortionpillreversal.com. Go right there. We have an 800 number. We have a number of nurses that are standing by ready to talk to her. If she's in the middle of that, and if she's not, even if she's just thinking about it, we have some other folks that are willing to have that conversation with them, kind of to walk through the decision process of that, and hopefully connect her to a local pregnancy center as well. So we operate now the Abortion Pill Reversal Hotline, which is what that website goes to, and that's an opportunity for us to connect her to a provider, which would be a physician or someone, an equivalent, say a nurse practitioner who's able to prescribe medication, who's licensed, and who recognizes the value of the science and able to really step into that situation, prescribe progesterone for her. And that's what we try to do. Now, we do the client intake. We'll help her because that has to happen very, very quickly, because we know that we're working against the clock.
Yeah.
Unlike the woman who's walking into the center who probably has at least days, maybe weeks, before she kind of secures in her mind that what she wants her path to be. When a woman is in the midst of an abortion, we have to act very fast. We just encourage her to reach out to Abortion Pill Reversal or call optionline.org. Either one works because it's kind of the same team that answers it. And if she's in the midst of that protocol, we will get her to one of our nurses, and then connect her to one of the providers who can help secure that prescription and get her that medication.
Wow. So do you have any?
This is important, Amy, because one of the things that most of us don't know, because most of us who don't work in the world that we do are not aware that the entire abortion industry has been shifting towards chemical abortion.
Yes. Yeah.
And they want to call it medication abortions and medical abortions, because those sound so simple, but it is far from simple. I know that you've chatted with Abby, and her movie, her book, and then the movie that was based on her life shows, but really the powerful reality of what chemical abortion can be, and how many women are experiencing it. And so as we see the whole abortion industry shift intentionally, we believe that this year, if not last year, about 50% of all abortions will be chemical abortions.
Oh my goodness.
Which is important to note, because as we move into the future, we're going to see more and more of these, and I believe we're going to see more women who will regret that decision. And one of the doctors that we talked to says that normally, of all the women that he's dealt with, about 85% express regret within hours of taking that first pill.
Goodness.
And so you can tell, that they just find themselves in a deep place, and then suddenly the fog lifts, and the question is, we want to be there for her, and we want to be there with her as she seeks to rescue her baby. So it gets that one last chance to choose life.
Oh my goodness. Well, we've been hearing about, women who are taking this pill and having abortions, chemical abortions. They're experiencing this trauma in their homes and their safe places. So they're not even able to escape or block out the pain and regret of that abortion, because it's not happening in a clinic. It's happening in their safe place. It's just, it seems so simple, but it's such heavy situation for these women to walk through alone.
Yeah, for sure. Well, do you have any,
Jor-El? In fact, it's a real challenge, because the whole abortion industry, for some reason, is continuing to move towards eliminating the doctor from the equation, doing all that they can to kind of really reduce the supposed health professional participation in these. They're trying to make it over the counter. That there are some crazy things that the FDA is doing, driven by COVID, but we believe also on political levels. That is sadly is going to result in more women who are kind of sold the simple or simplicity of chemical abortion, and will likewise hopefully they will also have that one last chance to reach out and choose life. But it's difficult to watch an industry kind of prey on women in their darkest valley of need, and we just hope we can reach them before they make that decision, and certainly be able to be there for them if they change their mind in the midst of it.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any stories of someone that their baby ended up being okay, and they ended up going through with their pregnancy after taking?
We have tons of stories. Really, you should talk to some of them. We have some of them. In fact, one of them is on our team. Her name is Rebecca. I've had the chance. She was actually one of the first, among the first in California to reach out. She had that experience, and she'll tell you herself. She had not even left the parking lot of the abortion clinic when something came over her, and it's almost like the scales fell from her eyes, and she needed to do something. Now, the sad thing is when these same women will reach back to the abortion provider will lie to her and say, "There's nothing you can do. You have to go through with this." And so, unfortunately, that occurs. But we've seen more and more women. There's an amazing story. I can't tell you all of the specifics, but I'm aware of it. It was the power of a national hotline as well. So we have a ton of stories. I had the privilege of seeing little Isaiah, who was rescued by his mom in the midst of a chemical abortion, and he's 2.5. He and I were sharing actually chicken tenders at a meal recently. High five, cutest kid you can imagine.
Aww.
There's tons of stories like that. One of them was really interesting. They called our hotline. She said, "I'm pregnant. I just took the first pill, and I don't want to go through with this." Well, as it turned out, she was actually in an airport on the East Coast, in one of the major cities on the East Coast, and she was a flight attendant. And so she said, "But I have to go to work now. I have to get on the plane and travel." And she was traveling to the West Coast. Well, by the time she landed, we had secured the provider for her, connected with her immediately upon her stepping out of her flight attendant role, and then connected her with life-saving help on the other side. So it's just the power of network working together, how we can connect pregnancy help across the United States and in some cases around the world.
That is so cool.
I love it. All right. Well, Jor-El, say one more time, how can people connect with Heartbeat, give to Heartbeat, all of that? And then also, how can they find out, or where can they find out more information about abortion pill reversal? I know you mentioned it earlier in it, but let's say it one more time just in case someone was.
Sure. Well, with Heartbeat International, it's always heartbeatinternational.org. We'd love to connect with anybody who's interested in learning more about all the Heartbeat things, but particularly abortionpillreversal.com. And maybe a simpler thing to know is optionline.org. So either one of those works well. Either one of those paths will connect her with the good people here on our team, and whatever their needs are, wherever their needs really are, would take them, we can help them get there. That's our promise and our connector to the pregnancy help movement at large. We're available 24/7, 365, also in Spanish, and able to help as best we can.
That's awesome. Jor-El, thank you so much for being on with us today.
Thank you, Amy. God bless you guys.
I think it's so cool that he went from completely pro-choice to being pro-life to picketing and getting arrested.
What's crazy is if you knew him, just the fact that he got arrested, it just
I was
does not.
Am I impressed by this?
What are concerned?
But then he ended up on the compassionate.
He's serving.
All in.
He's all in.
His whole life, that one moment transformed everything. And I feel like so many of us in the pro-love movement of being pro-life, we had that one moment where everything changed, and we're like, what can we do? We have to do more.
Right. One moment in God's presence can change
everything.
Totally awesome. Well, I hope that you were inspired today. I think we all just need to know about these amazing resources, because you never know who you might run into.
And share it with everyone.
For real. Everybody needs to know. I had no idea up until a couple years ago that you could actually reverse an abortion. And or at least a 70% chance. That's high.
That's so high.
There's a good
and with more and more abortions moving from the surgical abortions to chemical abortions, there's people all around us that are experiencing this. And if they had this valuable life-saving information that can not only save the life of their child, but their hearts too, we can change everything for them.
For real.
Yeah.
Yes. So definitely connect with what they're doing. It's a great resource. And also, if you're still not really sure where to get involved in the pro-life movement, go to helperbebrave.com. There are really great ideas on there. There's a book you can buy that has over 300 ideas called Help Her Be Brave. And also just keep listening to this podcast show. If this is the first one that you've listened to, this is season 4. So we have 3 seasons before this that you can jump on and listen to all of these amazing people, organizations, boots on the ground that are really making a difference, and something's going to stir your heart to be like, that's it. That's where I'm supposed to get involved. And so tune in. You can watch on YouTube or subscribe through iTunes and Spotify. Share it with your friends. Tell everyone about it. We love you. We're cheering you on, and it's better together. We'll see you next time.